Interference in spiritual war is as real as it gets. I want to share something from my personal point of view and experience today that is correlated and is about how the spiritual war and how demonic interference happens when you have a certain type of mission, when you carry specific codes in your lineage, and how that manifest, let's say, for me. And I see that this is something that's going on for a lot of, let's say, light workers, for lack of a better word, the new earth people, the ones that are called here for the new paradigm. And I'm gonna begin by sharing that I was doing extraordinarily well. Well, there was always room for more, for better, as always in this reality. But I was doing well and I had no problem, as long as I was functioning mainly from my ego and in separation from God. I'll pause there. And I'm going to welcome you to my channel. If you don't know me, I'm Anka Lavinia. And this is a space of truth. This is a space of genuine sharing from my experience, from my lived experience, that is more than 13 years supporting women, more than 15 years since I walked this path. This is a space of sharing my point of view, so this is not something that you should follow to the letter or even believe. Take it with a grain of salt. Take it through your own discernment and feel if it resonates. If it doesn't, move on. That's totally fine. I remember, I don't even know if it was last year or the year before, but I know this moment when I just paused and I said something along the lines, God, Christ, I'm inviting you in my life. I'm inviting you in my heart. I'm inviting you here now. I'm surrendering. May your will be done through me. Take away everything that is not coming from you. As I was becoming aware, and I already knew that there is a lot of manipulation, a lot of distortion, a lot of inversion in this world, I was becoming more and more aware and seeing more clearly how the world functions and how this, I don't have a better word for it, how is it this demonic dark overlay matrix architecture that humanity has been a prisoner of. Humanity has been a prisoner of the spell of forgetting who they truly are and being disconnected from their true essence, from their divine spark in God. So I had this moment, I don't even remember why it happened or clearly the context, but I know clearly that I said something like this because I felt it in my heart so strongly and I felt it in my entire body so strongly. Excuse me. I also want to mention that I've had sort of a connection to Jesus my entire life, in the sense that I've always been fascinated by him and by his story. I've also dabbled and tried different religions, different confessions. I've always been searching God in a way or another, and I've always been out of this paradigm a lot, in the sense that I didn't believe in anything. I didn't go to any church. I wasn't a religious person. I was just lost in the darkness of my own experience, that now looking back has an incredible weight in my life, because it taught me so much. But that is not about that period of time in my life. This is about how I surrendered and called God in. This is when I called Christ in, so deeply, so purely, so when you feel it, you feel it. And then it's like the coming weeks and months, I could say that I was in the most um, powerful yet subtle spiritual war that I've ever been in. Until that moment, I've had my fair share of like spiritual attacks. I've had a few episodes in my life where I've been through sudden sickness and all kinds of symptoms, all kinds of parasitic entities that I had to work through and clear and regain my energetic sovereignty, that I always kind of knew how to do intuitively. Yeah, no one taught me that. Now I realize while I speak with you. But that is not about that. This type of interference, this type of spiritual war is a whole different level because it goes through, especially through your mind, through the weak spots, the cracks that you have in your field, and especially in the mental field. After I cold got in that manner, in that way, really truly wanting to surrender and to live my life guided by him, her, God for me is Mother Father, and I didn't want to do things from ego anymore. I didn't want things that came from wounding. I didn't want things that came from the darkness in this world and the temptations in this world. Like, for example, chasing fame, chasing more money and more money and more status and being more known, chasing more and more, being always dissatisfied, not having enough, living this life of, I don't even know how to call it, of illusion and distortion. I didn't want that anymore. I knew what was the risk when I said anything that is not from you, I don't want it anymore. I thought in that moment that, oh my God, maybe I will be left with so little after this. And this is kind of what also happened. But I want to give you like a more in-depth approach, a more in-depth share of what this type of interference is like, because I am sure that it is happening for a lot of you out there that have this type of missions. First of all, I know this is something that I know happens. Some people in this world are being targeted through their lineage because they do carry specific codes that are very important for the new earth, for the awakening of the original architecture of earth, of humanity. We can say it's correlated to having a big light mission. And this doesn't mean that some people are better than others, or the people that have these missions are better than other people that have different missions. It's just what it is. So there are people that are being targeted through their mother's lineage, through their father's lineage, because they carry these Christ codes, because they carry this type of frequency, this type of codes that are very important for dismantling what is going on on earth now. And this is actually the reason why we're here in this lifetime. So they will be experiencing a lot of difficulties and hardship in their lives. So it is not just about I had a traumatic childhood, or I was abused by my parents, or I felt alone, or I didn't have any friends, or I didn't get the love that I deserved or I wanted. It is not just about that. Actually, the root of all that, the deeper layer of all that, is this specific type of interference. It can take many forms. It can be curses in the lineage, it can be strongholds, it can be overlays, it can be demonic entities attached through the lineage, it can be things that you carry from different lifetimes. It can be a lot. Usually there's a combination of all of it. And for example, being a teenager, there was a period of time where I experienced a lot of suicidal thoughts, and I was contemplating that a lot, and I was also self-harming physically. That specifically is way that they work. That is not something that would happen if I would be connected to God, if I would be aware of who I am, if I would be living in my original template. That is demonic interference. I had no idea about that, of course. In hindsight, doing all kinds of work, I realized that that was going on. Coming back to the recent story, that was like the backdrop of it, the context. After surrendering and calling God in, calling Christ in this way, and this is the experience that I had, again, it doesn't have to be like this for everybody. Thoughts that were parasitic thoughts and emotions, mood swings, weird thoughts and ways that I felt started amplifying, to the point that I literally observed, noticed thoughts like, God is not even real. How do you know that he exists? Don't you see that he left you, that he abandoned you? What if you're just dreaming and you're crazy and nothing is real? All sorts of types of thoughts like that, and also feeling an anxiety, a confusion, feeling off a lot, feeling like this is so real in my body, but in the same time, this is not true. I, let's say, luckily had been doing a lot of work, and I was aware of the energetics. I was aware of this thing that could have happened. I knew about interference, I knew about demons, I knew about all of that. So when this happened to me, I could notice, witness, oh, this is what's going on. Oh, this is the extent to which it's going on. I would wake up one day and I would just feel miserable, and I would go into like moments of desperation and moments of like, it has no point, like my mission has no point, like this is just an illusion, I should stop, I should go get hired and do like a random thing. What if this all has been just an illusion and I've just convinced myself of it? All of those things happened very like constantly, day in and day out for a while. Now it's not, I don't even know if it's happening anymore, or I don't think. It's just here and there a little thought popping up that I notice quickly, and I'm like, no, 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 I see you, no. I do not accept that. That is not true. You're not welcome here. That was one of the ways that they were trying hard to stop me from my mission, because this is their entire goal. Like, you're targeted so that you don't come into your mission, so that you don't come into alignment with your true soul mission, so that you don't come in this alignment with your divine spark. You don't remember who you truly are. You don't come into your full power and sovereignty. You don't get free. So that was one of the ways that I could very palpably feel and live through, of wanting to make me give up. Literally, I was at one point thinking of where I could send my CV and who I can talk to just go be a dog walker or a random ass job that of course I wouldn't like, that of course it's not for me. But those thoughts were real at that moment. I could see their game, and I could anchor myself, because this is the thing. Knowing who you truly are, and knowing that being a manifestation of God and here in form, knowing that all of this BS is not the real deal, the real thing. Like, God created you of light, of Him, of love, of joy, of, everything good. You are not in any way less in God's eyes. You're not doing wrong by God. You are not like shame and guilt and criticism and self-harm and all of these thoughts that we have, they are not from God. They are not your true, organic, natural nature as a human being. Knowing that God sees me as this whole being, his perfect daughter, that nothing that I could do would take his love away. Knowing that all of the dark stuff that I went through was their game and not God's reality. Remembering that I am who I am beyond this flesh, that helped me tremendously, enormously, to go through this period of time where everything stopped. Also, from one angle of it, it doesn't have to be the entire story, but from one angle, this is also like, take her money, take her clients, take everything that she's used to make her stop, to make her quit, to make her spiral back into that version where she does things out of alignment, where she does things out of fear, out of anxiety, out of desperation, out of shame, out of guilt. So take her back to that lower frequency where we can control her. That's one point of view. Then there's the other point of view. When I asked, if it's not from you, I don't want it, of course, everything in my energy field and in my reality started to move, like the pieces in a Jenga, for example, or tectonic plates, started to move, to shift, to rearrange all my reality, all the timelines. Everything started rearranging so that what is not from God and what is not aligned is not coming through, is being taken away. And that's where projects do not come to fruition, where collaborations don't work, where things fall through, where people don't show up. I knew in the back of my head that that was one of the risks. But in the same time, I am here to live a soul-aligned life in total integrity and truth, guided by God in God's will. And I'm not here to dabble in fear, anxiety, shame, chasing, struggling, resisting, controlling, like the old game anymore. That's the old game. That's the old paradigm we're exiting out from. So the interference, the spiritual war, it is effing real. And it can happen to anyone, but especially to those of us who are really at the brink, because that's what happened. I was at the brink of the true, full-blown remembrance of my entirety as a being, of my multidimensionality, of my power, of my worth, of my God-like being, self. I was at the brink of escaping their power and control. So, okay, let's do everything that we can to keep her from going into the light. And at a larger scale, this is what is actually happening with humanity. As we wake up, many of us, more and more of us wake up, as we remember more and more of us who we truly are, why we're here, as we begin to see through the game, through the lie, through the distortions, through the manipulation, through everything that's going on, the game begins to be tighter and tighter, less subtle, in your face. Like they are constricting us in so many ways, and then in the same time it is very, very subtle and very layered. There's so many innuendos and there's so much programming. Now I see it all, of course, in movies, in media, in showbiz, in songs, in series, in everywhere, and any place that is official. There are a lot of programming induced. There are a lot of low frequencies induced. Think about violence in movies, like it is increasing and increasing and increasing, so it gets you numb, so it gets you used to violence. Think about the drugs and the alcohol that are everywhere in movies, everywhere in constant, subtle manipulation, normalizing it, normalizing all kinds of things that are actually reversed, distortion, inverse. That's another topic, but it is like correlated with what I'm speaking today, because it's not just about my personal interference that I'm going through, my own mission. It is also about the bigger picture in humanity that's going on at a bigger scale and at individual scale as well. Knowing who you truly are, calling God in, standing in the light of God, having a relationship with Christ, with God, being the person that seeks to always live truthfully, honestly, in integrity, in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day, no matter what you do. Like, no more lying, no more half measures, no more living in fear, no more, trying to figure it out, doesn't matter how, hustling, those fishy things that we do, and we say, oh, everybody does it, oh, it's normal. That is not a life that is aligned with your highest identity, with your soul, with your true essence, with God. And this might not be for everybody. This is something that some people choose and truly feel called to and have it in them, and they have it in their blueprint, in their soul architecture, and there's people that will not resonate and think this is bullshit. That's fine. I wanted to share with you that if you're one of the people that have this type of missions and you have been going through weird times with your mission, with money, with clients, with like everything going haywire in your life, and you didn't get what's going on, if you've experienced weird moods, weird thoughts, shifts, this is one of the reasons. It might be the main reason. And this is when you might want to seek someone to support you with some deep clearings, with some deep work at this level. Might be me, might be someone else, whoever resonates with you. But remember, there are other people like you experiencing this, and there are people that can support you in this. I also had like the joy and the blessing to be able to talk to some sisters that were really aligned with this, that could really hear me, that could really give me a perspective, hold a mirror, that could really validate what I was going through, so that I don't feel I'm totally alone in this, that I'm going crazy, that no one else is understanding me and going through this. No, there are people, many I'm sure, that go, and I'm curious if you're one of them. Leave me a comment, let me know. Are you one of the people that are going through this, that have experienced this? Let me know. In the same time, I want to close this off with asking God to shine His light and blessings to each one of you, and in your own time, in the best way, in the highest good for each one of you, asking God to show you the way back into your power, into your sovereignty, into your true essence, into your light, to bring you all the resources, all the people, all the support, all the synchronicities, everything that you need, so that you remember who you truly are and step into your soul-aligned path and mission in life. Thank you for being here, and find more about my work, find more of how we can connect closer in the description. Have a blessed rest of your day.